As I start my contribution, particularly in my area of the budget, I just want to make a particular reference to the experience I had in the last month, which was to visit the Horn of Africa, to visit countries, particularly in Kenya and South Sudan, which I saw firsthand. The absolute devastation that is happening in those countries. People are at risk of a famine outbreak, which we haven't seen the scale of maybe since the mid-1980s. But people are currently dying. People are at this moment dying. There are children suffering from malnutrition, which I saw firsthand the devastating impacts. And I heard mothers, I heard fathers, I heard community leaders talk to me directly and say, will you do two things? Will you go, when you go back to Ireland, will you talk about this? Will you be our voice? And will you make sure that the Irish government continues to support us? Because we're actually one of the key supporters in this area through our work as Irish Aid and through the incredible work of the Irish NGOs who are on the ground there, who day in, day out are helping along with their UN support colleagues to deal with this situation. That's why I was incredibly proud that as part of this budget, we did two key things around the Horn of Africa. The first is we put an immediate 30 million of extra funding available, and that will make a big difference. It will enable those NGOs to continue their work. We need to see other countries come in to play their part, but we will very much continue to play our part in terms of what we can do. Also, very critically, we have increased our budget. So our overseas official development assistance budget will move to 1.2 billion as part of this budget. That's a 17% increase. Last year was the first year that we crossed the 1 billion threshold. This year will see us move to 1.2 billion. It represents a steady, significant growth in what we're doing. And as we all know from all the other aspects of this budget, there are many, many calls on what are needed for the resources that we have available. But I think in terms of some of the most vulnerable people in the world, and us reaching out to them and us recognising what our role internationally is, which is to be a country that has a proud aid programme, an aid programme that is admired and recognised for targeting those who are furthest behind and helping them the most. And that is something we will continue to do as part of the aid programme, and particularly in the Horn of Africa, where we will be absolutely to the forefront in the next year, as we have been in previous years. Also, we will do, as part of it, we recognise our commitment to Ukraine and to the impact that the unjustified, horrible war started by Putin has had on people's lives. And we will continue, and we will put extra funding in to support and respond to that crisis. I also would like to address the other aspect of my ministry, which is I'm the Minister with responsibility for the Irish diaspora. And it is an incredibly rewarding job, because the Irish diaspora is at the heart of what's good about Irish people, no matter where they are in the world. We have a programme which supports the Irish diaspora, and that programme, the Emigrant Support Programme, has supported probably over 530 organisations with grants over 200 million since it started in 2004. And it's incredible to see, and I have the opportunity to see firsthand, the work that Irish organisations do right across the UK, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, anywhere where there are Irish people. There are Irish people who are willing to come together and work in community-based organisations to help Irish people who left this country, whether they left this country in the 1950s, whether they left it in the 60s or 70s, or whether they're more recent Irish people who have left. And also, there's a tremendous aspect of the support and work that's there for our culture, for our games, for all the things that we associate with Ireland as part of the work which we do. We have about a 12.5 million programme which we'll take into next year, and that will enable those organisations to continue to meet the challenges which they face on a daily basis in supporting those Irish communities, and I look forward to working with them in that process. So they are the two areas of my direct responsibility within the budget. I think it's an excellent budget. It's a budget, I think, that shows really clearly the three parties in government working together and working to deliver a budget which at its heart is all about fairness and support and helping our people and communities. So thank you very much, Lesley.